Broadcasting. Hey, everybody! We're late. My fault mostly, but it's also a little bit of Google's fault, and it's mostly just because I'm completely thrown off by not having, by having to look at actual Geno's photo rendered head and not some sort of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, is it throwing you off? Is it fucking with you? Photo rendered. That's just a photo of me that's stylized for the Gabby.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know what the technical term is, but that's not like, somebody's done some.
It's had some work done to it. I had some graphic designers do some work.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I mean. I'm not saying it's nice. I like it. I'm just.
Is it nice?
It's not just a picture. There's some bling on it.
We were my lady friend was like, we were talking about you and how hot you are, and she just immediately agreed. Made me feel weird because I was like, yeah, Sean's a good looking dude. She's like, yeah, he's super hot. Fuck you just say? So we think you're very hot, and I'm happy to hear that you think I'm hot. She wasn't very happy with it. She's like, "What? That's actually you. Why is that up there? What's your? Why you need to put your real photo out?"
It's just weird. We're all used to everybody. I think the whole community is used to Solid Snake.
True. So it's a little strange. It's an adjustment.
Change is not always bad. Just
change is good. You have to have the mindset that change is good, because if you think change is bad, it will be bad. You will self-fulfill that prophecy, right?
Well, I'll just channel Rusev channeling Rocky Balboa and say that if I can change, you can change, and we can all change.
Everybody can change. A hot take: the Rocky movie sucked.
So go fuck yourself.
They didn't suck, but they're not nearly as good as everyone acts like they are.
No, I mean they're so like interwoven in my childhood. Like I've seen Rocky IV, the one that speech is from. That was like one of my grandfather's favorite movies. I've seen that movie like 400 times. It's not good, but I love it. So whatever.
It's funny. The best speech he ever gave was in what was it? The last one, Rocky Balboa.
Is that the one? Well, technically now Creed is the last one, so they'll never stop making them. And that is a good. Creed's a good movie, actually.
I never watched it, so yeah, I guess that with Michael Jordan.
With Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, the guy that's doing the Black Panther movie, and did Fruitvale Station, which is another good flick. Yep.
But I did like that cool monologue. It's not how hard you hit; it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That's good shit. That's life. That's what life is.
It's funny you don't like the Rocky movies, because they're essentially they're just like pro wrestling angles mostly.
It's not that I don't like them.
Each and every one of them is just like a well done pro wrestling angle,
including Hulk Hogan as Thunderlips. Right?
Thunderlips, yep.
The Hulkster's in the fucking thing. No, it's not that I don't like them. They're fine, and if you catch me on the right day, I could probably watch it and feel inspired and fucking all that good stuff. But it's just not cinematic masterpiece that you often get people claiming it to be. It's still Sylvester Stallone.
The first one is an Academy Award winning film.
Is it real? What award did it win?
I think it won Best Picture. I think he won Best Screenplay. Yeah.
Motherfuck. All right. Well,
you can argue whether or not the Oscars mean shit anyway. My Twitter is everybody on my Twitter who's not talking about Elimination Chamber is arguing about fucking Beyonce and Adele. So awards are bullshit.
What happened there?
Adele won everything. And people are mad on the internet because she's white. Yeah.
And Beyonce.
Yeah. Well, even Adele, her acceptance speech was like, "This is bullshit. Your record changed my life." And so that's definitely.
Oh, Adele's a member of the Bay Hive, I believe it's called.
Oh yeah, she said that Beyonce is her life or something like that during her acceptance speech. So
Bay's life.
That definitely fueled it.
Are you going to write an article about how the Grammys are pro wrestling later, and we can do another clickbait episode of Kate's Head Live?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen. I was actually inspired by Lemonade to write that. I don't feel that about the Grammys. I don't know. I guess I could parallel Naomi's rise to the WWE Women's title with Beyonce. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing really.
There's nothing about probably not
wrestling. Not really inspiring a lot of inspiration right now. Did I just say inspiring?
Inspiring inspiration. What else could inspire inspiration? But
nothing about wrestling is inspiring right now, I guess is what I would say. Some of the show was.
You're not fired up by. They planted the seeds for your beloved Mania mixed tag. You're not fired up by that.
Well, it was weird how they handled that. They handled it as though because so we get Nikki and Natty battling in the back, and Marcy just happens to be there. Is Marcy Maurice? How do you say her fucking name?
Maurice.
Maurice, and I say Marcy. I'm sorry for that, Maurice.
Or
Maurice is there.
You should say Mary C, which is another wrong way to do it. But hey,
if I'm gimmicking something, you can guarantee it's because I'm trying to cover up for the fact that I don't fucking know. That's just an insight into the mind of Geno.
Good to know. Good to know.
So Marcy is getting powdered up. Right, she's apparently doing makeup at that moment, and Nikki hits her. Powder goes flying everywhere, and she's shown. They very understated, but on social media they way played it up. Like Marcy got powdered, like it's this big awful, and it's such a pro wrestling thing. Like you fucked up my makeup, I'm gonna bury you.
I must kill you now.
Yeah, like you ruined my makeup.
I didn't even have anything to do on this show. I was just getting my makeup done for fun. And now we got to fight.
I really wanted to watch Elimination Chamber match ringside and couldn't because you fucked up my makeup. Let's battle to the death. Like, I guess that's the angle. But she didn't. I don't think she tweeted anything about it later. And then you got to the chamber match, and Miz got in, and I think Cena looked at him. There was a stiff breeze, and then Cena pinned him clean. It was like, wow, it took nothing to get that man out of that match. I was very surprised that Cena was the guy who pinned him, but one AA doesn't finish anyone in 2017.
No, exactly. I thought for sure Miz was kicking out of that because it was after. I didn't like how Miz started the match.
I actually did like that.
I didn't. Yeah, I thought. I mean, I know he's a chicken shit heel, but I thought that was a bit much. Like, I'm cowering in fear of Baron Corbin was a little bit much for somebody who they've kind of treated as a pseudo real. That would have fit him like 3 or 4. I mean, like 5 years ago when he was just nothing. He was just. But now I feel like they kind of. I don't know.
I feel like it still fit.
I didn't like it.
It's like this Baron Corbin's in there. Everyone's got their. He tossed everybody's shit and didn't pin anybody, which I thought was funny. He came in and everyone was completely laid out after that big superplex spot, and he had. They claim 5 minutes, but Canaanite tells us it was not 5 minutes in between pods opening. But he had all this time.
No wonder they're not inspiring any inspiration.
Exactly.
Fucking liars.
Fucking liars, man. But so you get that time. He didn't pin anybody. He didn't eliminate anybody. He didn't really do much of anything except wait for Miz.
That's true. Yeah.
And then and Miz is like, I just rather not. You're there, and I don't have to come out of here. No one told me I had to. Just because the fucking door opened doesn't mean I have to leave it. I'm comfy. And like, to me, it makes sense for a character like that.
I guess I didn't, because and maybe I'm reading too much. Maybe I read it wrong. My read was like that he was standing there like paralyzed in fear. So if it's more like he was like smartly like deciding I don't need to come out, that's fine. But I mean, I even felt like the look on his face and everything was like, it wasn't like I'm conniving. It's like I'm actually going to piss myself was the read I took. And I don't know.
I could see that, I guess. To me, it was
I would rather they play it as like I'm clever and I don't need to come out, because that's what he ended up looking like, right? I mean, he basically distracted Corbin long enough that Ambrose.
So you would have rather it would have been like he closes the door or makes like the door's closed and then taunts Corbin, and that's what leads to Corbin.
I guess I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have to go back and rewatch it because I haven't.
You might be right.
Time. But I mean, he was like, I mean, like the camera even like closed in on his face, and he was like going.
I think that was maybe part of their wanting to put Corbin over, because it looks like he's getting the program with Ambrose now for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
And so maybe they were just wanting to put him over, and they had him eliminate Strowman. So there's obviously something with Corbin. I think that's maybe how they're building on that. He goes
and I think wasn't there something on last week's show where like Miz tried to get Corbin to be his buddy in the battle, and Corbin wouldn't go for. I mean, it makes it didn't ruin it for me. I just that, and then him seeing it just one AA, you're done. Was like, oh, that's sort of
they kind of.
I mean,
I felt like what they could do with it is, even if they went the fear route, I think it works with a guy like Miz because he can claim, "Oh, I was just being smart,"
right?
And we know that's full of shit. You were actually scared, and then he can act like that's not the case. And I think it still fits and works perfectly.
I think that whole like, if that's the Mania program, which we all know it is, so let's stop.
It sure looks like it, yeah.
I mean, it all hinges on what Miz's promo is on Tuesday, really. I mean, that'll really kick it off. They planted some seeds last night, but
I like that about the show. That there was a lot of stuff.
Drive it home. We'll see how he tells it.
There was a lot of stuff that they did that they didn't like. They're not even willing to say that Wyatt versus Orton is the official match. I really like that they're like, maybe, and you're going to have to watch another show to get to. I kind of like that. I don't feel like they ever do that enough.
Right.
That they never leave enough unsaid so that you'll tune into the next time to see what the answer to whatever questions you may have are. And especially with a story like that, I really think they need to. But with Miz too on this show, like it's just people get like strangely upset about small things and they look for answers. I think that if it's not this answer, then I'm dissatisfied with it, i.e. Miz doing the Bryan stuff. Well, they're not building to a fucking match. What's the point? As I tweeted, I go, I love that he does this, not because they're building to a match, but because they're not building to a match, and he's just that much of a dickhead. Like, he's such a pompous ass that he's taunting this dude relentlessly, knowing he will never have to face any consequence physically. And so to me, it's like, that's exactly what that guy would do.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're never, Daniel Bryan's never going to be able to do anything about it. So of course he's going to keep doing it. And it's the kind of thing that you can pay off in the form of, I'm real tired of this. How about you and Marcy can wrestle John Cena and Nikki Bella at WrestleMania? You know what I mean? Like your payback is you get to face that guy who just fucking destroyed you at Elimination Chamber. So you can make it work with stuff like that. So I thought Miz was great on this show, but it was a bit strange. Now you talk about that. Now that's a good setup in a way, but at the same time, it's not so good because, well, if the idea for me to watch a match is for some sort of competitive nature to it, it doesn't feel like there's any of that now because it's just. I mean, he got
and especially. I mean, first of all, mixed tags are dumb as shit. But
that's true.
Second of all, when Maurice hasn't wrestled in her comeback, right? I mean, so her last match, she's a former Divas champ, but her last match was like 2009 or some shit.
Been a while.
So, and Nikki Bella is fucking Nikki Bella. So yeah, there's no reason to think that the heels are winning that match. But I mean, I think maybe they're going with what you suggested to me before, which is this is all just set up for a proposal. So,
which in that case, Miz and Marcy are fucking what do they call them, MacGuffins?
Yeah, they're just something for them to do before the proposal, basically.
They don't mean a fucking thing. They're just there to advance the plot along.
Which I guess that to me, like people are still. I did the Facebook Live gimmick after the show last night, and people are still fucking furious about this AJ versus Shane idea, which I don't really understand the outrage.
Yeah, I don't either.
But to me, I am a little bit more outraged, and I guess that's why this is my own personal bias in not liking how Miz looked, because I think I'm ready for a Miz main event run. I think he's good enough in the ring and great as a character that he deserves to go to the next level. And all these things are signs to me that they're not going to put him there. Like how he was booked last night, the fact that they're MacGuffins or whatever we want to call it for Mania. They see a lot of value in him, but his value is upper mid card guy. So, which is it's a bit of a bummer to me. So.
It's almost like these days, it feels like if you exhibit a certain excellence in your place on the card, it makes them feel like they don't ever have to advance you.
Yep.
Yeah, like Enzo and Cass.
Right. Or Rusev.
You're good enough losing all the time in this mid card spot, and you're still over that we don't ever need to make you champ.
Right.
We'll put the belts on the two penises. Like, well, they need it because we've been beating them and no one gives a shit about them at all anymore. But you guys can make people care despite whether you win or lose. There's validity to that, but it also kind of kills, imagine if they treated The Rock like that. Would he have ever been the star that he became? Right. Like, you have to advance these fucking people. You got to work them up the card. It's 4 years later and Bray Wyatt's just now becoming a champion. Like, this should have happened a long time ago.
Maybe that's part of what we were talking about. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but the whole like Vince wants to build WWE and not individual stars whenever he can, or he only wants to build one star.
Yeah. So it kind of sucks in a sense that Miz appears to be in that role, but at the same time, it's like I can't get too mad because he still entertains the fuck out of me.
Fucking great in that role. I mean, that's the other thing I was thinking about last night. I mean, going back to him doing the yes kicks and the yes lock and that kind of stuff. I mean. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, this motherfucker has been given the figure 4 leg lock from Ric Flair, and now he gets to do all Daniel Bryan's offense. Somebody thinks highly of this guy. They don't let schmucks do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's in a hell of a position. We all fall into that trap with the people we like, and every once in a while, it's nice. It really pays off. It paid off last night for Naomi fans and Bray Wyatt fans. So There's a reason why we invested in these characters, and when it pays off, it feels great.
And the other thing to remember too, is to always try to remind yourself is, like we always say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. He'll get there again, and we know he can. He will deliver what he does. Like, just be patient, have some patience.
And Bray Wyatt's proof that it doesn't. They control all this. So if they want to make somebody look like a badass and have them convincingly pin, one of the greatest of all time and the greatest wrestler alive today pretty quickly and look like a badass, all of a sudden you look like a badass. So
now it's also possible, and and it's fair if you're worried that maybe it won't ever happen, because that's happened many times. Rick Rude, Ted DiBiase's, the Mr. Perfects, the guys who, you think of many people who should have probably had runs with the world title or got to be featured in a far more meaningful way and never were. Rusev could very well end up with a career like that, and that would suck.
I'm not putting any money on a Cesaro world title run.
Never. He'll never be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
I'd love to be proven wrong about that, but
I'm just hoping he gets another run with the secondary belt. He hasn't held a title other than he was tag champ, so. Don't come at me, Marks. But since his United States title run when he was still Antonio, he hasn't won another singles belt.
Yeah, there's some guys that it just feels an awful lot like they don't really know how to use him, but we know they know how to use Miz, and that's why you can have some measure of confidence in that, right? Like they have to stumble across the right formula with certain guys, and they haven't ever stumbled across that with Cesaro. They kind of stumbled into it with Daniel Bryan. We got real lucky with that and the way that with the yes thing and the, and he wasn't even supposed to win Money in the Bank when he did, and he was never supposed to cash it in the night that he cashed it in, and like all kind of a confluence of events that everything kind of came together exactly how it needed to for him to get. Which I guess that's life, really. It's about
and it's also that he was creative enough that he kept trying shit until stuff stuck. So there's lots of guys like, as much as I love Cesaro, he hasn't come up with anything that's as over as yes or no or the hug it out or any of that.
Well, Brian didn't either. He just stole it from Diego Sanchez.
Well, he knew how to apply.
Whatever. If that's what you have to do, that's fine, right? Like Hulk Hogan stole a lot of what he did from other guys, and people steal from it's fine. What's this? Who is it that said it? Was it Bischoff or somebody said there's a shelf life in wrestling that if it happened 8 years ago, any more than 8 years or more removed, it's totally fresh. It's like it hasn't been done at all.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but that's a good point.
Yeah, I think and I agree with it. Like the fandom changes, and people, you're going to get those assholes who are like, I remember when they did this in Japan back in '93. Like, yeah, I remember when I never talked to you.
There's also only so many stories you can tell, right?
Exactly.
It's like that's not the right word, but even in like pro sports, angles play out over and over again, like different.
The character is what matters.
Yeah. So
the person doing it and whether or not you're interested in that person, and there are certain guys.
The Cubs kind of just did what the Red Sox did 10 years ago, but it was a different cast of characters, and
whole different group of people that you like or don't like. The Chris Bryant's and Rizzo's and all those people that you either love or don't love. And different city, and there's different feelings attached to it and all that, which is how it is with different people, right? We have, Julie's not the only person you've ever been with in your life, but there's a different, you don't stop having relationships after you have one. It's the same basic concept, but it's a different person, and so it applies in a different way. You go have the exact same date, and it'd be a wholly unique experience just simply because you switch the person out. Wrestling's the same. They could do another NWO angle. They do, right? Those angles are all the same. Evolution and fucking Nexus and all that shit. But yeah, so Miz is fucking wonderful. Felt a little weird about how he got beat so quick, and we're reasonably certain they're MacGuffins, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
It's all right. It's sort of like, on the one level, it's sort of how I look at the AJ Shane thing, which is like, it's better in Vince's eyes or in the company's eyes. Being the supporting characters in the fucking John Cena Nikki Bella story is huge. That's that's a big fucking deal to them. So
if they're gonna have Shane wrestle somebody, I'd really rather it be AJ, because if he wrestles, if he wrestles Undertaker, he has to jump from a fucking 60-foot Hell in a Cell structure to get the match over. If he wrestles AJ, he can stick his arm out, and AJ will make me think Shane's literally murdering him.
Yep.
Like if there's any guy who can get a really good match out of him without having to do a suicidal spot, it's AJ Styles.
Yep.
He had me. I'm dead ass serious. I tweeted it, and it was clearly everyone agreed because it got a ton of engagement. Was he dead ass had me thinking Bray Wyatt was going to win a world title with a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he flipped twice and but the way he bumps and sells, like, he's dead. He just killed him. I was for a shoot believed it.
There's nobody. I mean, how he can kick out at 2.97. I mean, I don't.
AJ Styles is a wrestling god.
Sells every one of those fucking things. Yeah,
he's a wrestling god. There's just it's not even close. He's number one.
Yep.
There's no one in the world who is as good as AJ Styles wrestling
right now. Yep.
Yeah, right. I don't watch Japan. I'll fully cop to that. I don't watch Indies. I don't fucking need to. That guy's number one. I'm pretty sure he was number one when he was in Japan. That's what I was reading from the 6-star raters.
He's been that much. Yeah.
That dude's the fucking best, and it's clear.
He shook off the Dixie Carter shackles and has not looked back once.
This is a dude who maybe fathered a baby with Claire Lynch or some shit, and he's the best wrestler in the fucking world. It's awesome, and like that's so cool to me that like I really believed it. Like there was no part of me that he's gonna fucking pin him. He's gone. AJ just died from a clothesline. A clothesline. How awesome is that? What's next for him? Oh yeah, Shane. I guess the Shane thing.
Yeah, I mean that's as far as we know, but they haven't done anything to officially set it up yet. But I mean, we're also to the point where we're kind of out of other options for the Mania card. I mean, what else could he? I mean, other than that, it's one of the multi-man matches, probably, right?
It's kind of funny because Raw is like they're already establishing matches for Mania, and SmackDown isn't. But we're like, okay, well, they have an event before Mania, and they're like, well, so does Raw. It's like that's true. It's like we're still 2 months out. And I'm like, well, they don't seem to care as much about SmackDown stuff as they do the Raw stuff, which, I mean, it's clear, right? I mean, Vince.
I mean, I kind of think maybe it's part of the whole, like, different products for different markets thing. Because even I didn't watch all of Talking Smack, but at the beginning, I mean, Brian was pretty much, they try to make SmackDown appeal to people like us who think about it a lot, who watch it every week. And that's what Brian was saying at the Open was like, hey, we got 7 weeks to go. I could book something else tomorrow. And like, you're like, oh, that fucking makes sense. Whereas Raw is like, oh, if you only tune in once between now and Mania, we want you to know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with the guys, if you care about Goldberg and Lesnar, they need to do that right away because they might not show up again until WrestleMania kind of thing. Well, we know they're gonna, but
they're all booked up. Those guys are going to be.
Couldn't imagine what they're going to be doing.
I don't know.
Talking,
spitting, snarling, jogging in place.
Oh, I just don't want it.
No.
I really don't. I don't want Goldberg to win the world title. It just makes me so mad about Sting.
It makes me mad about a lot of things, but that's one of them, actually. And, I'm not a
really?
Sting guy. But,
you actually feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid.
I hate it.
I mean, look at who – yeah. I mean, look at who's a better wrestler, who means more to the business, who cared more about the business. And God bless Goldberg. I'm not trying to run him down, but Sting lived and breathed this shit.
Yeah.
And Goldberg spent the last 10 years doing podcasts about his fucking the engine on his car.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look.
People, someone countered me and they were like, Sting wanted to lose to Triple H. I go, okay. Sting's business, first of all. So Sting went in there and said, look, if this might be the last one, I should lose. That's business. That's the way it goes in fucking wrestling. Like, that's how it should be. So, yeah, I'm totally willing to do the job. And he also had to know, like, he knew that this is what the fuck they would do to him. Like, they just destroyed him, dude. All the way around. To have Michael Cole's geeky ass calling him the vigilante. Like, you fucked it up. You already fucked it up.
To me, it's not
what are you doing?
It's not the wins and losses thing. It's that he never had a story like this. Like, his big angle was going into Night of Champions, a fucking show during football season, the B-est of B shows. That was his big angle.
And they made it about the fucking old ass war that no one cares about anymore.
Well,
no one.
Yeah.
Except Vince McMahon. It's still just, I got to rub the fucking salt in there. I got to have my fake guys beat your fake guys. Dude, you bought them. You spent a couple million, you bought them. For at that time was just
pennies on the dollar. Yep.
Like, come on, dude. You had your time to do this. How do you not just see the value that exists here? And like, it just every single thing, it's embarrassing to me that all you have to do is give the okay. And the 2K people are like, cool, we'll take it from here. What did they do? They brought in a fucking badass little, what do they call it? A symphony or an orchestra? The arrangement or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of those two. I don't know.
I think I think it's an orchestra.
An orchestra. Okay, so they brought in an orchestra.
I'm not sure. Somebody tell us.
Dressed him up in, someone let us know, but dressed him up in the paint, and they're playing the fucking old theme, not this new fucking stupid crow shit where you're like explicitly like, oh wow, like what you like we understand, we get it, but they're just like, that's WWE. They can fucking beat you over the head with every single thing. Understated played the old badass theme, which, okay, again, that's part of what you're selling, so that's part of it, but there's no reason you couldn't use that, obviously, because you're fucking using it here. So if you could still use it, just use it again. That's why you bring him in, for people like me. It's not for new fans. They don't know who the fuck he is. So if you're bringing him in for people like me, why would you change him at all? At all. It just makes no sense. And 2K gets him for a 2-minute spot. Shadowy figures. You don't know what's going on, but they're playing the music and you understand, and it's dark and brooding, but also really fucking cool and like connecting. And then it all stops and they turn and the camera fucking cuts and he's turned and it's just the side of his head and he clenches his jaw and he just looks so badass. And like that cool sound that they do, and then bam, it's Sting in 2K. Dude, the coolest thing he ever did in WWE was a fucking commercial for a video game that Vince only gave the okay to, had nothing else to do with. That's sad, dude. He looked cooler and better by clenching his jaw in a commercial than he ever did by anything he did on WWE TV. You had him show up and save Dolph fucking Ziggler. How the fuck can you? We have Sting. He's gonna save Dolph. On your whole, his name's Dolph. Fuck you. Like, it just makes me so. And now here's Goldberg squashing in seconds Goldberg, who you hate, who's not fucking worth any of this, who's been nothing but a huge pain in the ass the entire time everything's ever fucking gone on or happened. And this fucker comes in and squashes the guy who you had beat Undertaker's fucking streak at WrestleMania. What? How do you get there? Triple H is like, yeah, I'll work with Sting and I'll beat him at Mania and we'll have old ass like, and the NWO's on his side. You don't even give a fuck about the story. You don't even care about anything. Did you even watch WCW? Are you aware of anything that ever even fucking occurred? Clearly you're not. It's just lame, dude. And Sting's just so much cooler. His character is Goldberg doesn't have a character. He doesn't. Bald guy.
He's Goldberg. I mean,
he's a bald guy who sweats too fucking much. It's uncomfortable. Just profusely sweating at all times.
He does make inappropriate faces, though.
He also always has a weird face. He's got the bitter beer face, like he doesn't have teeth, and he's like trying to do a duck face gimmick. It's weird as fuck. There's nothing intimidating about you. He doesn't intimidate me in any way. He just doesn't. He looks like a drunk uncle that you might have to beat up for getting inappropriate with your cousins. Like, it's just like, that's what the vibe I get from Goldberg. It's just not cool. It's lame and dumb, and he's gonna fucking win the belt. Dude's gonna win the belt from Kevin Owens.
That pisses me off. That gets me more than the Sting thing. I'm with you on the Sting thing, actually, but the fucking the end of Kevin Owens' comedy run as Universal Champion is going to be jobbing to a 50-year-old who can't work more than a minute.
I'm worried about Kevin Owens' health because he's going to lay there for a 3 count, and Goldberg's sweat is just going to drip so hard onto his body that he's just going to be absorbed. Owens might come out of that a NASCAR fan. Just from all the Goldberg sweat absorbed into him. Why do I suddenly like cars driving at high speeds and turning to the left? This is so weird. Fuck. It's just, this is where I'm total Mark mode, where I'm just like, man, I hate that they're doing this. And then I hope Goldberg just savagely beats him to death at WrestleMania. Or Lesnar to Goldberg. I hope Goldberg gets savagely beaten to death.
I hope so. I mean,
for a shoot. I mean that legit. Blood and puke and urine. I'd like the old school Brock style that he just finds his inner beast or some shit. The inner me, the old Kimbo promo, the inner me.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy is the inner me. Rest in peace, man. Kimbo was awesome. Can't remember anybody says Kimbo was the fucking man, including Kimbo is a badass name. That's great.
It was. It's a great. I mean, the whole thing is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. The enemy is the inner me, and then he goes out and he just literally rips Goldberg's fucking bald, weird duck head from his body, and that's it. Takes the bread title and off they go. But we can switch the roles where I'm really mad about Sting and you understand and are also mad, and now you're really mad about Owens and I can also be mad.
It's just no. I mean, I'm not going to get too worked up because, like you said, I mean, it's the long run, and this is not Kevin Owens' last Universal title reign. Hopefully, I mean, who the hell knows? But
right, but fuck this.
But yeah,
For
but
sure.
This is a bullshit way to go out. I mean,
Yep.
Because, and the other thing, I mean, now I can just really spin this into being like a pissed off Mark is like, wouldn't it be nice if this ended with like Chris Jericho getting a final rub before he goes out the door for who knows, maybe it could be the last time. Probably not, but could be. But instead, that's going to get paid off as like a mid-card Mania match. And I mean, I'm not saying it should have gone on last, but it could have been for the Universal title. Let's not pretend that Universal title means shit. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
We kind of are. He deserves better. Who's his title?
I mean, it's I know. It's still real to me, damn it. But yeah,
it is real. There is real parts of it too. It's just this guy's a pain in the ass and always has been, and that's self-admitted, and that's everyone else. I mean, fuck, it was only a couple years ago they were asking Shawn Michaels and Triple H if Goldberg's a Hall of Famer, and they laughed at the question. And now here he is beating the guy that beat the streak and about to win the title and go into WrestleMania as the champion, and they're going to put that over. I remember, assholes. I remember exactly what you said. We should print that quote today. I think they gave that quote to SB Nation. The SB Nation Atlanta wing when they were doing the fucking wing. That's not a thing. Region.
I don't know.
The Atlanta wing. We're in the Atlanta wing of the SB Nation orifices. We should print that today. Hey, remember when Triple H said Goldberg's a real piece of shit and not a Hall of Famer? Right on.
It's Goldberg. I don't think neither of them are on the show tonight, are they? I don't think.
Goldberg or Trips?
Yeah, or no, Lesnar.
Yeah, we're only building a title match and a big Mania match, maybe the main event. No, they're not going to be on Raw. Definitely not. Fucking WWE, man. You know who's going to be on Raw? Emelina.
Maybe. We hope. We don't know. But yeah.
God, I want the music to hit. Funk is on a roll. Somebody call her mama. Somebody call my mama. Yeah. And Zack Ryder like walks out like with his fucking crutches or whatever, and he's like clapping. He's wearing the dino suit.
That guy is a fucking Fox Sports person or Fox News personality now. That guy, the fucking Funkasaurus.
Is he really?
From Planet Funk. Yeah, he's on the Great Gutfield show or some shit. I don't know.
Who the hell watches Fox News, Sean?
Dolph Ziggler.
Were you as uncomfortable as I was during that match last night? I know the answer, but it's a good lead-in for you. You can tell.
I don't think I was as uncomfortable until the crowd started chanting "Thank you, Dolph," for snapping the African American man's ankle. That was when I got uncomfortable.
Here's what I'll say: I'm not going to pretend that, or not pretend, or I'm not even going to assume anything here. I will freely admit, I doubt that any of this was like planned this way because.
Yep.
Premeditated or like let's do it like this because of this. However, Dolph Ziggler was wearing America pants. Dolph Ziggler may be a Trump supporter. Dolph Ziggler savagely beat up a Latino fella and then a black fella. Dolph Ziggler lost the match and then again savagely beat up said Latino fella and black fella, and the crowd chanted "Thank you, Ziggler" on his way out. I just feel a little uncomfortable there.
Yeah, and if any one of those things would have been true, I probably wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But that all three of them were, or all four,
all of them happened.
American flag pants, beat up a Mexican, beat up a black guy, crowd loved it. The quadrifecta or whatever you want to call that is too much for me.
Like the white guy lost the match, but still he literally took the legs out from the black guy like to keep him down.
I mean, I guess he's a sore loser, so he's still. I mean, he was definitely still the heel there, but
sure.
I mean,
wrestling story-wise,
it's not one of these where people are like, "Well, I don't like the babyface did that," like with the whole Enzo and Rusev thing back in the day.
It makes sense.
But this was, I mean, he cheap shotted him on the way in.
He's a real piece of shit. I mean, that came across quite well, but it's just strange when Phoenix was like thanking him for it.
Yeah.
What are you thanking him for exactly?
I mean, yeah, that's a good, I mean, because Apollo Crews doesn't have enough of a character to even hate, right?
That's what I mean.
He's literally just there. His defining characteristics are he's athletic, he can do like flips, and he's black. So
the only thing I ever remember him for,
and actually they don't play up the fact that he's black. I'm just saying if you look at him, that's probably one of the things you'd say because he has no other personality traits.
He looks as though I hope he never steps on a bobby pin because he'll pop.
What did DEO say? He looks like somebody who would take a bottle of water to the ocean to set it free.
Yes. That is what he said. That's one of the best lines in Inside Live history. He looks like someone who would take a bottle of water to the ocean to set it free. Oh, I was laughing so hard when he said that.
Oh, God.
That was great. And it's true. He's just so puffy. Like his titties are phenomenal. Like I just want to climb him. And also, I only ever remember anything he's done on the main roster. The one thing he did was complain to Big Show that he was being picked on.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yep.
They're picking on me, Big. Like, what did I do wrong here? Yeah, so that was, but yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable and weird. And I'm not, and again, don't be like, oh my God, you fucking SJWs. I'm not doing that. I don't think they were like, I don't think it was deliberate. It was the crowd reacted weirdly. In fact, for the story, it makes a great deal of sense because at least this time, it's the white guy holding the other, the black guy down and the whatever. Like, he's the shithead. And it's clear that he's the shithead. And ultimately, hopefully, we'll see Cruz and Kalisto just, that's what should happen on SmackDown. They should just get a clean win and be okay with that. Like, they shouldn't respond with that kind of violence. They should just have another match and just they win, and it's right on. We're better.
This is even before, take out all that, take out all the other stuff. And this is really when I recapped it last night. I just looking at it, from a pro wrestling perspective, I don't know how this helped anybody. Like, everybody comes out of this looking like an idiot and like not somebody I think could move up the card and beat somebody else. Like, you all look like this hurt everyone involved.
Yeah. Like, there are two of you. Right. There's one of him. And the one of him is Dolph Ziggler. So there's a real problem. There's a real problem.
So I don't even know if we can call it a whole one, but we'll just round up.
Yeah, he's wearing Silver America pants. I just don't like that you guys can't seem to handle this situation. I don't know if the puffy man tits are going to Apollo's brain and Kalisto's just, that mask is fucking up circulation maybe. I don't know. It was a bad look. It was a bad look for everybody, I feel. It was a waste of time. There were women's matches, 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
I'm happy for Naomi. I'm gutted as an Alexa Bliss fan.
Really?
I just love Alexa Bliss so much. She's just the steady improvement from even just when she first started on SmackDown to today is just, you can tell. Like, she's just gotten so much better. She's got some innovative, I don't know, innovative, maybe not the right word, but her offense, like, she's even improved with the wrestling itself, which is the part that I care the least about. She's fun to watch. I just really have a good time watching her ply her trade, if you will. So, yeah, but Naomi cried, which typically I'd be against.
And they said you deserve it, which is like, usually that like triggers you. Like, when crowds chant you deserve it, you get all upset. Yeah,
I'd normally have a negative reaction to all of those events. People being happy, essentially, but but it was genuine and cool, and she really did. She's worked forever to kind of get up to this point, and it looked a whole lot like she wasn't ever really gonna. She was one of those people too that I would have looked at that. I don't think they're ever gonna put her there. I don't think they think of her that way.
As recently as 3 weeks ago, which might be a critique of how fast she got pushed, but
20 minutes ago actually, and then I remembered that they did put her there. So I feel like that's how she's been treated. She was one of the original funk. What do they call it? Funkettes?
Funkadactyls.
Funkadactyls. That's right. Her and Cameron. Whatever happened to Cameron?
Didn't they release her?
Still down in NXT?
No, I think she got released because she used to try to pin people when they were laying on their stomach, so they had to let her go.
Count it.
They had to take her out back and shoot her.
Yeah, like that's because she's yelling at the ref. Count it. And he didn't even care. He's like, no.
That woman's legacy in WWE is actually pretty fucking impressive because she's got that moment, plus she's got the Stone Cold shaking his head at her for whatever she
The
said.
tough enough moment, yeah.
Alicia Fox and
versus
Melina beating
like
the greatest match ever.
What's your favorite match in WWE history? And I think she just said two names and hoped that they'd work together at some point.
I give her credit. I think she knew of the epic Alicia Fox, Tamina, whoever, Melina
Tamina.
Melina Tamina.
Yeah,
that should be Tamina's new gimmick, Melina Tamina.
Yeah, and Austin's response was he was so good on that season of Tough Enough. That was when it was actually a cool show.
Yeah.
Big Andy, Silent Rage.
Poor Jericho having to follow that.
Yeah, he was horrible. One of the few roles he's cast himself.
He's not. I am such a Jerichoholic that I tried to watch that other game show. I've watched fucking BattleBots or whatever show. He's just not good in that role. He should not be a host. I mean, he's great on his podcast. I'm like just having a conversation, but he doesn't come across well as the
entertainer person instead of character player. If he plays a character, he's good. But when he's trying to be an entertaining entertainer who is performing, but as himself,
right,
like a game show host, or
which is what Cena does phenomenally well.
Yes, Cena's very good at that. You can't be good at everything, and that's fine. Jericho's really, really good at many other things.
Yep.
So yeah, no, good for Naomi. I don't know what they're gonna do from here. I don't really have any real clarity on what they're planning for the SmackDown Women's title at Mania. In fact, they did play up that she's going back home to Orlando, and there was that big Total Divas thing where they had the shooting there, and it was like they kind of attached her to it, which I felt watching it, I actually felt kind of uncomfortable. Like it felt forced to me, like they were taking advantage of, and maybe that's me, and I don't know, but I know you don't watch Total Divas, but they did a whole thing where there was that shooting.
I usually watch the clips just to sort of keep up with it because they do weave it into the kayfabe. So I remember that.
It felt uncomfortable to me. I was like, how is there, like they were looking for any connection so that they could, and I get that in a way because as a content producer, I guess you'd call me, we run Cage Side. There's a big event and it's going to do traffic and you go, is there a connection that we can draw here? Mm-hmm. Donald Trump winning the presidency. Well, he was a WWE Hall of Famer, so I'm going to cover that if it happens. It's like, why? Because it's going to get me hits, traffic, and I need that money. I get that. Mm-hmm. But this is a tragedy. Like real people died, and it was a very bad thing. And there's connection enough, I guess. So it was kind of like, well, I felt like they were trying to profit on it, and I didn't like it. And now it's like, are they going to bring that back into the story here, like it's this big redemption thing for her, or it's like it doesn't feel good to me.
I know. I think based on the post that you just did too, I think they're going to they'll do the hometown angle, and they'll also play into the fact that she's like an every woman, like that she's universally liked. I hope they don't bring the Paul shooting back into it. I didn't mind it when Total Divas did it because it's not like they flew her down there immediately and like had that all over the YouTube channel. It was something that she did, and then Total Divas chronicled it later. I hope. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there, but I think if they try to tie that in now, it
wouldn't feel good.
That would get a hard eye roll from Sean if they did that.
A hard eye roll from Sean. Becky and Mickey. What did you think about that match?
I liked it. I thought it was a weird choice for opener, given the style of match they worked. Because
everyone was real slow on this show. There wasn't a lot of up tempo.
It was. Well, that's what I said on the Facebook Live thing. I don't know what match I would have put as the opener, given how they all worked.
Yeah.
Every match. There was not. They didn't have a fucking sprint match or whatever you call it. Or Bayley and Charlotte wasn't that nonstop at the Rumble, but they went pretty fast, especially at the end. So much so that the end sort of felt like it came out of nowhere. So it was the perfect opener, the curtain jerker match. This was not that, but I really liked it. I want to go back and watch it again because I didn't quite figure out, because I was like, why are they doing this? And then once I figured out that they're working this fucking like William Regal match, I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. But it just wasn't what I was expecting from them or the opener. But I think
it's not to say that it was bad or anything like that, but it was just, and the show as a whole suffered greatly from what we just mentioned. Excuse me, there was no competing style.
Yeah.
Every fucking match looked the same. Like it was really, I think you said in the Cage Side Orifices, this is what a 3-hour SmackDown looks like.
Yeah.
With a dope-ass chamber match at the end of it. and a title change. Like this was like a bigger version of SmackDown. And it's a real problem to me that it's a wider problem with WWE that you don't get enough differing styles. Matches need to look different to me. The people working those matches need to feel different to me. Like you can throw a Kalisto in there in a way with a Ziggler and nothing. It still somehow looks the same as Randy Orton versus Luke Harper, and that's not a good thing. Like it's really not. It shouldn't be that way.
Well, and I mean, we've talked about the problems with the cruiserweights a lot, but that's definitely one of them. It's like, why do I want to watch small guys do the same match I can watch fucking Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman work?
Yep, and that's the problem. That's what that was what made it work in WCW. We talked about that. I mean, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero were like flying, doing Hurricane Ranas from the top rope to the outside and somehow back into the ring. Like they did a lot of crazy, weird shit, moves you never see. And then Hogan did 2 punches and a leg drop, and it was over. It's like, okay, that's fine because you came to see the big personality, but it's these dudes who were doing the crazy flying around cool shit. WWE seems to have not taken that as a lesson, again, because I don't think they ever watched WCW. That one of those people there never saw a single episode of Nitro.
And the main eventers have advanced past the Hogan punch kick formula
That's
too.
True. That's
so
true.
I mean, it's both things. I don't.
Well, you're never going to see them do it. When's the last time you saw a Hurricane Rana in a WWE match? Like you're not going to see that kind of shit anymore. Like for some reason, it's like they're like real risk averse. Which this is not a good segue, but I wanted your take on it. Were you as upset as everyone else about the fucking padding in the chamber? People were mad.
No, I noticed it, but I wasn't mad. I mean,
I didn't even notice it until someone said something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they do have that padding in that where this.
I noticed the reason that I noticed it. I think JBL told an anecdote about how Umaga would complain about how the grating hurt his feet. And so can you imagine what it would feel like to land on it? And then he told that story, and then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, the grating is gone, which is dumb. I mean, it's a dumb disconnect between the announcer and the rest of production, I guess. But yeah, it still looks pretty fucking painful in there to me. I'm okay with it not being crippling.
Well, and when I tweeted that y'all are like weirdly mad about the padding situation, and the response was, well, I don't mind necessarily for, safety reasons, and I think it's good that they're, it's going to help the wrestlers, and that's a good thing. But don't sell me on the sheer brutality of the chamber structure.
Right.
And then change it to where it's safer. That I don't really like that. There's validity there, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, again, with the announcers Morrow was like, oh, I think he said it was going to be gory. He was comparing it to a Tarantino flick. I mean, he was over, even for Morrow, he was over the top with selling how this was going to end lives and shit. And then, but look, we padded it. I don't know. Yeah,
They oversold it, certainly.
There's a disconnect. But they always do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their promoters.
That's their job, right? Exactly. So.
And it's like there's a disconnect too between even the fans and how they kind of treat things. Like, I get really uncomfortable watching Mick Foley fly off a fucking Hell in a Cell and into the ring, and they hit the thing. And is that padding? This is bullshit. Why do I even watch this padding? See, what are they? I thought I was here for brutality. It's like, well, can you pick one? Because they still did really cool spots. I don't think that. What's funny about that is there's always been disconnects because I never felt that vibe of. I never watched a chamber match for the brutality of the structure itself. I just always thought it was a cool gimmick that they come in those intervals. To me, it's as close to War Games as we're ever going to get, and War Games was always really dope. So, and it's the fence, and it's like a.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing that actually, and I forgot all about it because the end was so great, but I got a little bit annoyed when they were when Cena and Styles were climbing the chamber early on. It's like, there's no.
Yeah, where are you going with this?
There's no reason to do this, guys. What's the strategic advantage?
Well, it did happen. Cena fell, and they fucking didn't show it.
Yeah.
He fell, and
it was the setup. Styles. Yeah. And then Cena didn't roll back in for a while, so I guess it was done to, give him a rest, but.
Yeah, they executed that fairly well. Like, they teased someone falling. Okay. And I felt the same. I'm like, no one's actually going to fall. And then Cena did. I don't even think they showed a replay. What the fuck was Kevin Dunn doing at the time that this was going on? Like, you set this big spot up. They had to have laid it out because I think it was still when they were the only two in the match. And then Ambrose came in right after. Is that right? Or maybe Ambrose, yeah, because he jumped in and went up to the top of the pod, started throwing Styles' face against that pain, which also is a little, something takes away. Okay, let's start from this, from the beginning here and just say that the chamber structure itself is aggressively dumb. I mean, it's just really, it's kind of lame. And that glass isn't glass. Is it plastic?
Well, it's not even like when they did the spot, because you knew they were going to do something. They did the spot where I guess Corbin threw Ambrose through it. It didn't even like the plexiglass used to be thick enough that it would snap, and now it didn't. It just like it flapped around.
Does the wavy thing and that weird boom 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 sound? Like that's not.
No! He got thrown into some saran wrap.
Yeah, whatever, and then you get to that, again, you become a hypocrite because you're like, whatever happened to guys like Shane McMahon completely killing himself to go through some real glass and concussing himself 3 times over? Like, that's an impressive spot. But if you know that that's the case, why would you even, that's what
I don't want the glass to be back, but don't do the spot. Like, it doesn't, it takes away, it makes it harder to suspend my disbelief when, for a moment, I see them thrown into something that's the equivalent of, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know what that is, but it's not something that terrifies me, or I think, no one's life will ever be the same again when you're thrown into a fucking screen door or whatever.
It's the cardboard doors at the Ultimate Fighter house. You're throwing someone through one, and you're like, oh, that probably was a slight annoyance to your body. I'm moderately annoyed right now.
Yeah, I hope you're not allergic to plastic because you might have a rash.
I'm slightly more upset than I was just a minute ago. So yeah, that's kind of lame or whatever. But yeah, so the structure itself's kind of just silly. But yeah, the big.
What do you think about the changes? I mean, other than the padding, was there anything else?
Aesthetically, good. I don't even like using that word. Real quick, I just hate, like, if you're the kind of person who says, "Oh, that's my aesthetic," or like you'll put up a picture and go, "My aesthetic." I always think of you like you say it like that, like you're a Kardashian with the vocal fry, and I also want you to delete your account and maybe never speak again. I don't know why. I just hate, this is so my aesthetic. No, it's lame. But aesthetically speaking, the chamber looked much better, not as busy. I feel like the old chambers that were like the oval, like kind of weird.
Yeah, they were sort of like six. They were like hexagons or some shit.
Yeah, it felt like there was a lot going on, a lot of chains and shit everywhere. It felt like this felt not so much like that, like it more open. You could see better. So in that way, everything kind of, I don't know, to me worked out okay. It looked okay. Still did all the cool spots that you'd get out of it. Someone jumping off the pod. I think Ambrose jumped off, did an elbow, and it looked a lot more room. Before it was like, I remember when it was Morrison, he was like fucking monkey crawling. Like it had to be a small guy.
Right, yeah. Even when Mysterio would do them, he would have to like crouch down up there.
Yeah. Yeah, duck down, and then so they made a whole bunch more room to the point that it was, Ambrose and Styles on top throwing each other. That was actually a really cool spot, even though the goofy fucking boom sound of the glass, where it's like, this is wacky. But you could kind of go with it because it's Styles, and I'm just never going to stop filleting him with how good he is and what he does. So it still kind of sold it and came off really well. So yeah, I actually thought, I did not expect the chamber match to really be any good. I was just looking for, hey, they're probably going to do a title change here, so it's going to be fun for that reason. But the match was actually really fun. I had a great time with it.
I thought, I think I like chamber matches more than I like the Rumble. I know that's
you shut your whore mouth.
Probably a controversial opinion.
I don't know why. Horrible take.
I just thought I like it. It's like I dig the concept.
Dude, did you see the guy on Twitter who said he liked the tag team turmoil match more than anything he saw at Royal Rumble? I don't know. I legitimately said, with all due respect, this is probably the worst take I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know. I guess I didn't say anything, so people might not have seen that. But that was my eyes bugging out of my face look that I just gave, because I don't understand. I can't justify that. I mean, I will, like as I've said many times, you can have whatever take you like. You believe it, God bless.
He must have been getting the best blowjob of his life watching that match.
I hated that match.
It was horrible.
That was when I was like, I don't know if I can watch the rest of this show. The back-to-back the handicap match followed by that, I was like, fuck this show. Fuck SmackDown. Fuck this thing. Fuck that. The little cat gif where he pushes everything off the counter. That was me.
And not just that, like it was that was good, and there was just way better stuff at the Rumble, but that was actively bad.
And
And
that was
you think
another.
it was better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. There were a lot of people who was like tag team told me it was pretty good. I'm like, what are you looking at? This was not good. It was very. The tag team turmoil gimmick sucks. Okay, let's be, the two teams and then the new team comes out. How do you determine order? I just think stuff like that. You have to explain that shit. Like
I mean, I would
with the Rumble, you can do the random tumbler thing, and it's assumed then that everyone just grabbed a fucking ball and you just get what you get. Now,
right.
you give up some because somehow the big dudes always end up way late or the big stars are in the 20s. I get that that's kind of, whatever, but you can at least, that's the idea. So it's already pre-explained that there's a big ass tumbler and everyone just goes there at some point throughout the night, gets their number, goes to the ring and does their thing. In a case like this, why did American Alpha get the second to last draw? Why did the Ascension get the last draw? Shouldn't that be some sort of focal point of stuff? To me, it just reeks of bad planning and poor storytelling that they just didn't bother to fucking explain anything like that.
Right. I just think it's a missed opportunity because I was just giving SmackDown credit for like connecting the dots on that kind of shit for people like us who care about it. And then this is an example where, but that's their whole. This is part of what bothered me about this match is that it was the tag division on SmackDown and really tag team wrestling in WWE anywhere other than NXT in a nutshell. It's just we don't care about this shit. Here it is.
Yep.
We forgot to do anything with these guys for a month, so we're doing this.
We can tell that you don't care, so we don't care.
Right. And that's a fucking feedback loop. Like you tell us it doesn't matter, so we don't care. So you say we don't care, so it doesn't matter, and it keeps going.
It can be great. But if it's it's like it's
and this is another one. This is like the Ziggler Cruz Kalisto match. I felt like everybody looked bad. Like the Usos their heel turn has gone fucking nowhere. They just keep doing the same shit over and over again, and it doesn't even get them the titles. The Ascension were jokes coming into this, so you never took them seriously, but then they got treated like jokes again, so they still look like jokes, and American Alpha doesn't look like that much of a badasses because all they did was overcome the jokes. Heath Slater's still the most over person in the entire division, and they refuse to do anything with him. They never followed up on the Rhino. Like, that promo that Rhino and him gave on Talking Smack like 3 months ago was fucking fire, and they never followed up on it.
I care more about Rhino's mutton chops than I do the Ascension. Like, I really...
what was the He-Man character where you could push him down, and was it Ramjack or something? Was that guy's name? Anybody know?
I'm not sure.
Rhino he's like getting smaller. Like he's getting more compact. He's getting wider and smaller. And the mutton chops are part of it. They like accentuate the look. His aesthetic is...
Oh, don't do it to me. That's my aesthetic. I'm compact.
Now I want to see Rhino come out and have somebody like Renee Young ask him about the mutton chops, and he can go, "It's my aesthetic."
My aesthetic. No, yeah. So yeah, it's pro wrestling is kind of a bit like it's like sex to me.
Okay.
If you're not into it, I can't be into it. Like if your partner's not there, you can sense that, and you can find a way to justify that it's fun because it's still sex. Like, right? You're still like, that's cool. You can justify it. There are fun parts to it. But ultimately, if your partner's not with you and if they're not into it in the way that you need them to be, you can't be into it. It's not nearly the experience you want it to be. It's very much that way. That's the tag division. They're not into it. We fucking, and they ain't all about it. They don't want to be up in here. So I don't want to be up in here. Let's get the fuck up out of here. That's my feeling on it. What other match was there that we haven't covered yet?
We haven't talked about Orton Harper.
Ooh, thought it was good. It was a fun match. I don't have a lot to say about it other than it was cool.
Do you think so? This came up on my Facebook Live Q&A thing, and I saw it a few other places. Do you think that this, like in the loss, Harper was so impressive that he's going to be elevated, or no?
No. Well, there was someone was like they should add him to it and make it a triple threat. That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, there's no justification for that at this point. If he would have beaten Orton, maybe you could spin that, but not now.
I'm actually hugely intrigued by Randy Orton's character for the first time in quite a long time. I think he's gotten better in very subtle ways, but they found the right spot for him. This is the Brian never fit this mold, but Orton does for sure.
Oh,
to get into the family and fit in such a way, but then like he's also still kind of out for himself. And there's some intrigue with the idea that Harper kind of fought and died for the idea that he always had, which was that Orton is what he's always been, which quite literally, he's called the Viper. Like he's a snake in the grass, and Harper never trusted him. And they've got so many cool shots of him, like side-eyeing the dude. Like every time all three of them were together, Harper was always staring Orton down. Like this motherfucker's got some shit planned. But they've really subtly, sold that like Orton isn't that way, to the point that now here they are, and it's like they're on a collision course, and he didn't come out and like turn. He just came out and looked at him.
Yep.
And they even had the thing earlier where Bray was like, we're going to have to go our separate ways soon, but we will reunite later.
Which is
Orton did the run gimmick.
Yep.
So they're like, it's real. Dare I say, they're fucking being subtle. And it's nice. They're not beating us over the head with this shit, despite the clear direction they're going. So I am intrigued to see how they work Harper back into the mix, if that's what they do. I feel like they probably should. I'm intrigued to see if Bray decides he needs backup and maybe tries to recruit Harper. I'm intrigued to see, because Bray's kind of a babyface. He was getting cheered.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, do they
I'm wondering what they do there.
At this point, based on crowd reaction, again, I agree with you. I think they're doing some subtle stuff. I don't think they've painted anybody as a completely 100% heel or face. But it looks to me like even the Harper-Orton match, people were cheering for Randy through most of that.
Yeah, and when Harper turned on...
Reaction-wise, Orton Wyatt may be face versus face as far as how the crowd's going to react to it.
The biggest cheer in the Royal Rumble was when Luke Harper turned on Bray Wyatt. So there's some confusion within the fan base even, which in its own way can be took as, we're just liking what you're doing. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and cheer for it. So yeah, I'm fully on board. I'm super intrigued in the main event scene on SmackDown now, so I'm real happy about that.
I think Orton's in a kind of a place too where you've kind of seen it in how wrestling websites and stuff react to him lately. Like there was a point where he was sort of like a Cena guy where I don't think anybody said you can't wrestle, but everybody said, oh, you don't care about this stuff and we're bored with it.
He felt like he checked out.
Yeah, and now people are sort of like respecting him as a worker again.
Yeah.
So he's almost to that point. He's almost to that like sort of Jericho point where I don't know if he can be 100% booed ever again. He's sort of a legend that people are excited to see get a. I mean, maybe he could. I mean, I guess if he really started doing some heelish shit, but I don't know. I
feel like maybe I think he might be onto something there. He may, or at the very least, just kind of go, yeah, I don't like you, but you're.
Yeah, but God damn it, I respect you.
Yep, there it is. I don't like you, but I gotta respect you. Like that damn numbers game. Yeah. So.
People love that fucking pose, man. That's what he was getting pops for in the first half of the Harper match. He'd beat that. He'd put the boots to Luke for a second, and then he'd do that, and people would go, ah!
Dude, I'm telling you.
That crowd wasn't awake for anything all night.
Nothing. They didn't care. I'm telling you, man, wrestling and nothing clever ever got over in pro wrestling. You just find some dumb shit that people can connect to. Yep. A good pose, a simple chant, make them play along with you, like Enzo and there's a formula. I truly believe there's a formula to get over in pro wrestling, and you just have to have a certain charisma to you. And in some cases, you don't have to have that charisma because I don't think Randy Orton, as a television personality, has that charisma. I believe he has that in person. Like when you see him in person, I'm sure that's the case. I don't know if I've ever seen Randy Orton in person, but I'm certain it's the case because he is where he is, and you don't get to that place.
He is. I mean, what did JBL used to say about him? Like if you designed a sports entertainer, it would look like that. He's a fucking impressive looking specimen.
Sure,
he's got that badass. I mean, that's part of his whole. His character seems to be his real personality too, where he kind of just doesn't really care that much about this stuff. Not that he doesn't care at all, but he could take it or leave it.
And if you look at, I could just leave tomorrow and not care.
I really don't.
If you look at his Twitter, he's kind of that way too. Like on his Twitter, he'll randomly do Q&As and be way too honest. And just not, he's one of those brutal honesty type dudes who's like, I'll just fucking tell you what I really think. And if you don't like it, you can go and fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. Which I certainly appreciate characters like that. Maybe that's why I like him so much. I'm a big fan of. I'm still learning in my life when the proper time to be that guy is.
Kyle, I don't know if Kyle's going to talk to you again.
He's very upset with me because I said that. What did I say? That he
You
got
said
mad at
that if basically you said that if you liked Walking Dead, you were brain dead. I think is the.
Well, Broken Matt Hardy's on Twitter talking about Walking Dead with brilliant storytelling, and I'm like, is he fucking brain dead? Do you still watch this program? How are you emotionally invested in The Walking Dead in the year of our Lord 2017? That's insane. That show's
a lot, but that's. I mean, I'm
and then
sure.
Decker's like, I actually like it, so I need to leave this conversation, and we haven't seen him since.
Nope.
Sorry,
well,
Deck.
He said he was having a bad day otherwise. So,
yeah, it's true. I'm having a bad day. Decker, I'm sorry. I just love you. Please don't
that
do
show. But
I
don't know what. I mean, last night was its mid-season premiere or whatever. I guarantee.
Yeah, they do that stupid shit too.
It's gonna have 400,000 times more viewers than Raw does.
A lot more. They'll do like 13 million, and Raw is gonna do 3 million tonight, and it's just that's fine. But that doesn't indicate quality. It indicates a lot of stupidity out in the world at large.
There's a lot of people that, by your measure, are brain dead.
Just dumber than a brick. It's bad, dude. There are a lot of stupid people, and I'm one of them because I'm sitting here going, "Are you brain dead?" Watching The Walking Dead. So anyway, Bray Wyatt is the eater of worlds, and what he does.
Well, anyway, let me tell you why I'm mad about how Sting has been written in a fictional universe.
Yeah, let me tell you why I'm so mad that the Crow ripoff got really fucked when he came to this thing at the age of 73. So yeah, we're not going to talk about tag turmoil because we don't really.
No, I mean I've said pretty much all I have to say about it. So
Tyler Breeze is mad online.
Is he?
He has been posting match videos from NXT of where he's like, "Hey, you guys remember this or this or this or this?" And then he just went on a rampage, posting videos of him involved in good, fun matches where he was good and fun. And I feel bad for the guy. And I don't say that just because he follows us and seems to enjoy us. I say that because he follows us and seems to enjoy us. Let me be real here. I changed my mind and was honest. No, really though, he was actually a guy who I felt like, there's a shelf life. There are some gimmicks where you're only going to get so far with this. You're going to have to evolve at some point. I always kind of felt that way about him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a spot for him, and I don't know that it's Sexy Cop alongside Fandango. And I love Dongo, just so I can say Dongo, and it makes me laugh.
Who doesn't? I mean, we all love Dongo. We all love a little Dongo in our lives.
We all love Dongo.
Who hasn't taken some Dongo before and just said, that was good Dongo?
That was some good Dongo. Or if you're going to do that, they deserve is a bad word to use, but I want more from them. I want to see them more because they're fucking entertaining, man. They entertain me a whole hell of a lot more than the Ascension do. And I don't like to see Daniel Bryan talking about fucking, how dangerous they are on talking smack. I don't care about that, dude. You're not going to sell me on these two. You don't need to sell me on these two. Get the fucking Sexy Cops out here. I need some good Dongo again. I need some Dongo and some hog.
It's been too long since I've had some good Dongo.
It's been way too long.
Put it in.
Good Dongo. Stick it in me, man. Fuck. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no. Rosa Mendez retired.
Oh, just now?
Apparently, yeah. News is breaking like crazy. I don't know. I managed to write about Teddy Long while we were podcasting because I am
what happened to Teddy Long?
Fucking bad. He's in the Hall of Fame. Player!
They announced him for the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
For this year's class. Oh, it is Monday, isn't it? Man, I don't know what fucking day it is. But Teddy Long's the next. Boy, this class is going to suck.
That's kind of, I mean, it's not. They got angle on there like, we're done. I mean, God loves Ricky Morton and Teddy Long and everything, but yeah.
Yeah,
it looks that way. I mean, Beth Phoenix is the rumored female, which God love Beth Phoenix, but that doesn't strike me as like a epic career. Yeah.
Now the thing about the Hall of Fame stuff, and I run into this. I like baseball's. Okay, I don't like baseball's method of how they treat it, but I like that you don't get it. It's not like in the NFL. It's like 6 guys every year.
Yeah.
Like why? That doesn't.
Right.
Like, what if you run out of 6 guys who are?
Yeah, it's an arbitrary. Yeah.
Yeah, and but in MLB, it's like you got to get like 98% of the fucking vote or some crazy shit. Like, or what is it like? Is it like 70 maybe or?
So, I think it's 70.
There's a certain amount.
You got to be on a certain
number
of ballots. Yeah.
And if you don't, you ain't in. And there's like the greatest
and if nobody hits that in a year, then nobody goes in that year.
Yeah, arguably the greatest hitter of all time is not in the Hall of Fame because he can't clear that hurdle right now. Now, obviously, there are different reasons for that, right? But yeah, and then if you don't get in, then you don't fucking get in. And maybe nobody gets in because, sorry, nobody was that excellent this year, we decided. So the fact that WWE does it the way they do is that we're getting to a point where, yeah, Beth Phoenix is going in the Hall of Fame. I'm fucking sorry. You don't belong in a real Hall of Fame. My bad, but you just don't. Like, realistically, when you look at wrestling, there's probably only like 12 names that do belong in a legit Hall of Fame. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right? You start stretching the boundaries when you feel like you need to meet a quota is the problem. Like true excellence. I feel like that about the NFL. Kurt Warner is a Hall of Fame guy this year. Bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. He is not a Hall of Fame.
Greatest show on turf.
Yeah, a year. He had 2 years and then sucked ass and went to another team and sucked ass. And then it's because he went to a second Super Bowl with another team. It was fucking loaded at every skill position. Like he just happened to luck into just exactly the right situations. Is it to me, you're a Hall of Fame guy, but would you forget his run with the Giants? Come on. I can't just forget that you were a raging dumpster fire for like 4 or 5 years. That's not Hall of Fame to me. Hall of Fame is consistent excellence. You are the very best of the very best for the entirety of the time that you're there. You know who's a Hall of Famer? Tom fucking Brady's a Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning's a Hall of Famer. You know who's not? Tony Romo. Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know that I'd put Aaron Rodgers in the Hall of Fame because
either of those guys has a better case than Warner, though, right? I mean, because they were
exactly.
Their numbers are better over a longer term, right?
Aaron Rodgers has a better case for the Hall of Fame, and I don't know that I'd put him in. So the fact that Kurt Warner, I don't even know that I'd put. You know what? The entirety of the Hall of Fame in the NFL this year, I don't think any of those motherfuckers belong in there. LaDainian Tomlinson, like all these people. So you talk about WWE, and we're going, well, who do we have left to put in? Fucking Coco Beware is going to get in this year. All right, let's see down the line. Rick Rude's probably going to be getting in this year. Let's see down the line. We're going to talk about Typhoon, Hall of Famer, Typhoon. Woo-woo.
Well, we've already got the Bushwhackers. We've got Coco Beware.
The fucking Bushwhackers are in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, they're fun acts. Yeah, I mean, and especially with the WWE one, you get into like the people that are being kept out because of politics. You get into the fact that Martha Hart won't let Owen go in. There's two. I mean, it's a joke. So it's sort of like, to tie back into my Grammys thing from before, just don't get too upset about it. It's just a fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm not actually upset, folks.
No, I know you're not. I'm not saying you. I'm saying to people in general who are like, God damn it, because there will be those people.
If you're one of those people who's mad at Martha Hart for not letting Owen get in, you fuck off.
Yeah, you need to get some things in perspective.
You need to get some fucking perspective in your world, man. That is shitty, and you're shitty if you sign to celebrate his career. No, they want to make money on it.
Yep.
There's only one reason.
She might have all kind of issues in the world, but I'm not going to tell her to not be mad at the company that her husband was working for.
Killed her fucking husband.
Yeah. She's allowed to care. She's allowed to hold that grudge
forever, and you ain't allowed to tell her she can't. And I don't want to hear your argument that Bret Hart thinks he should go in. I don't give two fucks what Bret Hart seems to think about a damn thing. I'll write about it. But, I mean, Bret Hart's in a feud with Kim Kardashian. We're going to listen to Bret fucking Hart right now? Is that what we're going to do? He said, who wore it better? She did, Bret. Move on.
What about when he put up the one of like him outdoors in the stream wearing it, though? I don't know. That one I wasn't sure.
Yeah, who wore it better? And it's just the sunglasses, and they only kind of look alike. It's like, Bret, are you promoting something?
I don't.
Do you have a project coming up?
It's like, I don't like Flair doesn't run his own Twitter. I don't think.
Oh, that's utterly clear. Like, yeah, it's like people are like, what is Ric Flair talking about? Like, you think that's Ric Flair? Hey, guys, what does lit mean? This is a young person trying to act like what an old person would be. That
might be something like maybe Rick asked that, and they're like, that's funny, let's tweet it. I could see that.
That could be the case. Hey, Rick, do you know what lit means? No, tell me. All right, we're going to tweet. We got you. We're going to handle your account right now. And they followed us, and I never say it, but at some point maybe I'll tweet at him and be like, so who is this really?
Right.
Like we should do it. We should do a whole article. And then who runs the Ric Flair Twitter account? An investigation.
Right. The Vince isn't tweeting shit, people.
Yeah, conclusion. It is definitely not Ric Flair. So, Vince isn't tweeting. I mean, these people don't talk this way. They don't act this way. They're not this way. You can tell who's legit and who's not, I feel. And the Iron Sheik Twitter. People still think that's him. That is not him. It never has been him at any fucking point. There have been profiles in magazines that it isn't him. People are still like, that guy's so great. Do you like the Iron Sheik?
The best. Yeah.
Sheiky, baby. Fuck yourself. Stop this madness. Don't come to or Sid Udy,
Oh
Psycho
yeah.
Sid or Sid Justice.
That
There's like
he's-
3 different Twitters that are 50K
like,
followers.
none
No
of
one
them
knows which one
verified.
this is.
Yep.
And then he gets on a video and goes, "Guys, I don't have a Twitter." But you'll run into somebody and they'll be like, "No."
Sid tweeted that he hated that match or what? Yeah.
The Sid Udy Twitter, that's his real one, not the Sid Justice. Or the Psycho Sid's definitely fake. I know that for a fact. Chemtrails. I'm telling you what. It's just that's how you just end it like that. I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan, and I watched the one with Alex Jones the other
God,
day.
Jesus.
Oh boy. Went down the rabbit hole. I think we're done with Elimination. Oh, you don't want to talk about Mojo Rawley and Curdy Hawkins?
I didn't really watch it, so
you didn't watch it. All right. Well, then
it was on my television, but I wasn't paying.
You haven't been doing your job.
Nope.
Is the thing. We agreed immediately as soon as they announced that. We're like, so we're not covering this.
I was like, I'm not writing a fucking 7 preview for it. You're like, we're not even covering the result. We might fan shot it.
We might do a fan shot, and then we didn't.
We didn't.
Like, Sean, what are the tattoos on your arm?
Which one?
I just noticed them for the first time. That one. What are those?
They're kanji for serenity, courage, and wisdom. I mean, it's really like peaceful, brave, and smart.
What's kanji? What's kanji mean?
It's Asian script. They use it in Japan and in China.
So are you certain that that's what those things mean?
I am positive. I had a student from Hong Kong in an old job that used to like to fuck with me and tell me that they meant different things. But like every time I go to a restaurant, I'll get. Well, a lot of times they'll just offer. They'll say, "Oh, peaceful," and I'm like, "Okay, good." But sometimes I'll ask them.
I will forever picture you now stopping random Asian people on the street and go, "Hey, does this mean what I think it does?"
What does it say? What is this?
What does this say right here to you? And it's like, who are you? Like, you stop a random Asian person and go, "What does this say?" He's like, "I'm from Atlanta. I don't fucking know what it says."
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, you people? Oh, y'all look alike. Rush Hour. That's a Rush Hour quote. That's not me saying that. That was quoting Rush Hour.
It's apparently that's a joke in the new Baywatch because I watched that trailer where Zac Efron says, "What do you mean, you people?" And then Rock is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You can't. You're just tan." It's kind of funny. I don't know. Anyway, that's a bad story. I won't tell it again.
Baywatch is Baywatch. The Rock can do no wrong when he's rebooting Baywatch, and everyone's like, "I can't wait." You fucking Baywatch, dude.
Pretty much, yeah.
You shitting me? All right, so I think we're good then. I think that's the show. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about.
Yep. And Gino will be back every other night of the week to gab about.
No, I won't. Not Tuesday nights.
I know, but I said every other night. That's what I mean. Not
people have been really. You know what's funny? Oh, I've gotten a lot of good feedback, and I've gotten a shocking amount of feedback asking me what Sean feels about the fact that I'm cheating on him.
Oh.
How do you feel?
Don't care. I don't think you're cheating on me. I don't want to do a nightly podcast. You have wanted to do this for a long time. I don't. I'm not upset. I mean, I'm happy for you.
I'm gonna need you to be a little jealous right now.
I'm fucking furious. I am hurt in my soul.
Thank you, baby.
All right.
Bye.